sex, it's just one of those things, isn't it? That's so broad and varied how we feel about it. And I want to talk about a very specific area of sex right now, and that is in long-term relationships where women don't want to have sex anymore and the men really feel like they need it. Now, of course, there's so many different areas around here, so many shades of grey. There's going to be one whole area that where people think, well, if a woman doesn't want to have sex, then there's something wrong in the relationship and she needs to work on aspects of herself. And while there is some truth in that, there definitely is, there's also the very kind of day-to-day reality that women and men need to get through. And also sometimes a woman, it might be true for a woman that she doesn't want to have sex. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the time in a relationship where a woman actually doesn't want or doesn't feel like having sex. She still loves her partner. She still wants to be in the relationship. She still feels intimacy or tenderness, but she doesn't actually feel like having sex. What does this mean? Is this bad? Does it mean that she can't be in the relationship anymore? And then on the other hand, for men who still, the man or her partner who is feeling sad because he really wants to have sex and he's feeling like he's not having his needs met. So what we kind of need to understand, and this part's for the women, is that a lot of men actually feel like they feel met or they feel loved through having sex. And this, more often than not, men don't realize this even themselves, but it's not necessarily the sex that they need. It's actually the intimacy that they are desiring. Most men don't snuggle up to their friends. Most men don't snuggle with their kids like women do. So their tactile intimacy, they really rely on that from their partners, and they get a sense of openness. They feel that sense of softness when they get to be intimate with a woman, and so they feel like they need to have sex. This is the way that they get it, and certainly sex is a great way to get that. It can start to really get so messy or kind of tense in a relationship when a man's really wanting to have sex and a woman really isn't wanting to. One of the biggest problems is that he starts to feel or the woman feels like he's being needy. The more his needs aren't being met, the more he tries to get it, the more she kind of feels like pushing him away. And this is a really screwed up dynamic. It doesn't work for anybody. So is it true that a man actually needs sex? Well, biologically, they're programmed to want to procreate so that we can keep the species going. So on that level, I guess, yes. But as we evolve and we raise our energy, then we do move beyond that urge to need to procreate. And that urge turns into the urge to create instead. So I don't know that they actually need, on a physical level, to have sex, but they do need, on a physical level, to connect intimately. And so we need to remember that for those of us women who are in long-term relationships and you feel like your partner's constantly wanting to have sex and you really don't want to, first of all, the first thing we need to remember is that it really isn't a need for him. He doesn't actually need to put his penis in a vagina. It's not like he's not going to die if that doesn't happen, but he does need to feel intimate, and sex is one way to make that happen. Now, for women, if you really, really, really don't feel like having sex right now, one way that you can give to him is to be sensual with him. Even if you just get your gear off and get into bed and snuggle, more often than not, this is enough to satisfy his need. Sometimes it even leads to sex. Now, there's a whole, like I said, there's a whole area here that I'm not talking about right now, and that is what's real for a woman, and we'll get there, don't worry. But that can be enough for a man, so that's one thing that you can do. The other thing to remember is that he's, when he's feeling like he really needs that and he's not getting it, he's going to it's going to feel a bit, look, I'm going to put it really bluntly, you can feel repulsed by him when a man is really needy at you and you're not feeling like opening up. So another way to kind of circumvent that is to just give to him willingly before it gets to that point. Remember that he needs touch. Remember that he needs to be intimate. So this is something that's kind of important in a relationship. That intimacy and that sensual intimacy is really important. So that's one of the ways that you can keep giving to him in this way. The other thing to remember though is that it's hard to give to a man, for a woman, or for anyone, let's forget about gender roles. It's hard to give to your partner if you're feeling like you're not being met yourself. So, we can get to this kind of stalemate standoff where it's like, he wants sex, but I want to be heard, or he wants intimacy, but, I want to be held I want space to be held for me, or whatever it is. So we get into this standoff. Truth is, no one's going to move anywhere if we're both in a standoff. So another really great tip to kind of circumvent that standoff is to be the first one. How do you do that and still remain authentic though? You need to change state. So you can't just kind of go up to him and start, getting your gear off and getting all amorous with him if you genuinely don't feel open to it. So one way to change your state is to really think about what you do honor in him or her, what you really do respect, what you really do appreciate. Most importantly, what are you really grateful for about this person? And that might be simple or small things. It might be that I'm really grateful that this person beautifies our space, or I might be really grateful that this person provides for our family financially, or I might be really grateful that this person always comes home with a smile on their face and is always thinking about me. This is something that I'm grateful to my husband for. I'm really grateful that he takes care of the family's needs with a smile on his face. He doesn't complain about it, and that makes me feel special and cared for. So take a moment to think about what you genuinely appreciate about that person, what you're genuinely grateful for, and let that feeling grow in you. And then you can give to them what they need as a gift. So you can open yourself up to give to them as a gift. And as I say, you might be able to choose then to open yourself sexually to your partner as a gift. That might work for you. For a lot of women who are going through a space of not feeling sexually open, that might be too much. So you could choose to give a gift of, a beautiful massage, just put your hands on his back, on his stomach, his chest, and massage him. Or, as I said, get naked, have that skin to skin time in bed together where your bodies are touching. These are some ways that you can give. And I promise you, if your partner is feeling like they really need sex and you're not feeling open to it, and you do either one of those things, they are going to be so, so grateful. Now, I don't want to discount that if you are in a space where you don't feel like opening up sexually, that this can be real for you. So I don't want to go too much into that in this particular post because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I will post about that if you're interested. Those of you who are watching, if you're interested in hearing that side of things, and so then I'll talk about that in a later post, and that will be, why is this? Why is it for some of us? And I'm saying women because lately I've had a lot of women talking about this, but it might be for men too. Why is it that sometimes in a long-term relationship we just don't feel like having sex? And it's not because we're angry, or it's not because we're upset. We're just going through a really genuine time of not feeling sexual. It is valid, and it's not something to just bulldoze or overlook. We need to be real to ourselves. So if that is something that you would like to look further into or listen to a little bit more about, then let me know and I'll speak to that as well. But just for this particular post, I wanted to share with you that, people do need intimacy, and particularly those who are in a more kind of yang role in the relationship, they tend to have less physical and intimate contact out in the world. And so when they say they need sex, personally, I don't know if they actually need to have sexual intercourse, but there is absolutely a need for physical intimacy. And so try and understand that that's true. And to get yourself into a state where you can provide them with that, you need to take a moment to stop, think about what you appreciate about them, think about what you're grateful to them for, so that you can then genuinely want to gift them something as a gratitude, as a thank you. And you could then do something that is going to satisfy that sensual and intimate need for them. So, giving them a massage, sensual massage, and or getting naked together in bed and just having a snuggle and a chat. And these are two simple ways that will more often than not satisfy their need, and it's simple and easy for us or for you to do. Hopefully this has been helpful for you, and if it has, share it, let your friends know. I know so many women who have been speaking to me about this at the moment, so I wanted to share quickly with you about that. Love to you all.